There is an important conversation that needs to be had today, and so I've asked my friend Danielle Little to join me. Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Hello, Sammy. I am good, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. I mean, a conversation needs to be had about race. It should have been had already, but especially when it comes to talking to our kids about racism. You've said some really wise things just to me as a friend, and I really wanted you to share that with our audience. Can you just talk about why this conversation is so important now?
I think this conversation is important now because we haven't had the conversations before. And I think that that's what's brought it to this point. I think now that it's out in the open, and now we are addressing it, then we continue the conversation, and then we have those tough talks with our friends and with our colleagues and with our families. And I think that because before we felt uncomfortable talking about it, we didn't talk about it. And I think the problem never went away. So I think now, with it being the headline pretty much every day,
Hmm.
people want to engage. They want to have that conversation. And I think that this is the best time to do it while it's still on everyone's minds and thoughts. And we just need to just coax one another through those
Right. And I was
conversations.
going to say, I mean, it's going to be uncomfortable at some point, right? Just any
Mhm.
conversation can be uncomfortable, but how would you recommend someone just starting that with a friend or even with someone that they don't know? What's our starting point?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is if you're reaching out to a person of color, to a Black person, and you want to have a conversation with them, you should always start with a question. How are you feeling?
Hmm.
Is there anything that I can do for you?
And that's
I think if
important
you
with our
start
kids as well, right? That's the same question we should be asking our kids.
Absolutely. I think that the conversation should be more listening and letting the other person talk. Like when I have that conversation with my daughter who's 16, I ask her a lot of questions and I just listen. And I think that that is the best way to make sure that we're taking everything into consideration and make sure that we're doing what we can to help other people.
That's great. Danielle, I mean, this is such an important topic. I know that people can find you at thecubiclechick.com. We're going to carry on this conversation this week because there's so much more that needs to be said. So people can head over to thesammyconeshow.com to listen to us talk about this more. Friend, I thank you for just bringing this to light. I really appreciate you joining me today.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Sammy.
Before I go, I need you to know you can do hard things. If this season of slowing down and staying in has taught me anything, it's that we can do hard things, things we never before imagined were possible. Think about it. Chances are you've tried something new in the past month. Teaching, cooking, playing, creating, streaming, working, filming, gaming, and so much more. Sure, not everything turns out the way we planned it, but if I've learned anything from my guest today, it's to let failure serve as an inspiration and not just plant ourselves in what's comfortable. To the contrary, we need to engage and explore to activate something new within us. We need to have more conversations, listen to different perspectives, and purposefully put ourselves in situations we wouldn't normally encounter. And as my friend Danielle reminded me, it's okay to acknowledge someone else's pain even when you haven't experienced that pain yourself. So regardless of whether you're contemplating